San Francisco is expensive. So expensive that a single toilet is going to cost $1.7 million. Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. This episode is sponsored by Incogni. You probably know that companies are collecting your personal data, but you may not realize just how many. Dozens, maybe hundreds, most of which you've never heard of, and you have no idea what they're doing with it. Incogni helps stop them. I'll explain more at the end. So, San Francisco is in a pretty crappy situation. Literally, if we're talking about their sidewalks. Not to worry though, city officials know what to do. Throw money at the problem. They've already spent tens of thousands of dollars on trash cans. That's for each trash can. Plus, San Francisco got an entire poop patrol to deal with its feces problem. Yes, a poop patrol. Congratulations, San Francisco. You're officially living in the dumbest dystopia. But why keep spending money on poop patrol when you can spend it on, building toilets? Well, San Francisco's got that covered. It'll just take 2 years and $1.7 million to build a single, I repeat, single public restroom with one toilet inside. Yep, just let that sink in. Okay, so San Francisco is currently the world's most expensive market to build in, but this is a little ridiculous. And San Franciscans think so too.
Noe Valley Town Square turned out to be a perfect spot to soak in the sun on this unusually warm day. But the city's price tag to build a 150 square foot public restroom at the corner of the park is getting quite a few people a little heated.
It's crazy. It's just sort of an artifact of everything that's going crazy in the city. How can it possibly be $1.7 million?
There was actually supposed to be an announcement by state and local public officials here today proclaiming their success in securing the funding from the state. But they abruptly canceled it once word of the price tag got out.
Wait, there was supposed to be an announcement calling it a success? Well, yes, there was, before the backlash. Too bad the celebration got canceled. I guess all those complainers were party poopers. Send in the poop patrol. To give you context of how expensive this toilet is, the average price for purchasing an entire house in the upscale Noe Valley neighborhood where the toilet will be built is $1.3 million. This is the only time San Francisco housing prices seem actually reasonable, because at least it's not a $1.7 million toilet. One of the people complaining about the toilet happens to be none other than California Governor Gavin Newsom. He called the bathroom a waste, which is a shame that he said $1.7 million was a waste when their flushing it away was right there. Turns out the money for the toilet isn't coming from the city, it's coming from the California state budget. And now Newsom doesn't want to pay for it. The governor's communications director said a single small bathroom should not cost $1.7 million. The state will hold funding until San Francisco delivers a plan to use this public money more efficiently. If they cannot, we will go back to the legislature to revoke this appropriation. That's sad. Sad for the toilet, I mean. Someone made a Twitter account called Noe Valley Toilet saying, "I promise I'll be worth every penny. You just gotta give me a chance." I don't know if I trust that toilet though. It's probably full of crap. So why did officials even think it was a good idea to spend $1.7 million for a single toilet in the first place? I'll get to that after the break. Welcome back. San Francisco officials thought a $1.7 million toilet was worth celebrating, until word got out about how much it cost, and then local politicians started changing their minds. California Assembly member Matt Haney, who secured money for the toilet in this year's state budget, is backtracking. Now he says, "I support not spending the money. The cost is ridiculous, and it will take far too long." What's far too long? Well, the toilet wasn't even set to be finished until 2025. That's a long time to have to hold it in. Haney says that $1.7 million should pay for at least 7 bathrooms, and that San Francisco needs to fix its broken processes. So 7 bathrooms for $1.7 million still seems like a ripoff. Seriously, are these toilets made of solid gold with a champagne bidet? Haney claims that the San Francisco Recreation and Parks Department told him they couldn't build the toilet for less than $1.7 million. But it's only just now, once voters and the governor are expressing outrage, that Haney is asking the department for a detailed cost breakdown. So, why is it so expensive? The general manager of San Francisco Recreation and Parks said it would cost $1 million just for the construction itself. The rest would go to project management, inspections, permits, architecture and engineering fees, and etc. On the bright side, they can save money on toilet paper. They can just use the miles of red tape surrounding this project instead. Okay, so construction in San Francisco is expensive, I get it, but $1.7 million? Really? Recreation and Parks says the high cost is due to onerous demands and unpredictable costs levied by Pacific Gas and Electric Company. Construction costs that have skyrocketed 20 to 30% in the past 2 years, and employees being paid a living wage with benefits. So Haney is blaming Recreation and Parks, which is in turn blaming the state power company. I'm not sure why the toilet is so expensive when everyone involved is so good at passing the buck. The high construction costs are apparently at least partially due to the pandemic, inflation, and global supply chain issues. City agencies also said that while this isn't the cheapest way to build, it reflects San Francisco's values. Ripping off taxpayers and never finishing what they start reflects San Francisco's values? Actually, that's pretty accurate. Carry on. Actually, speaking of values, one reason construction is so expensive is a rule from the San Francisco Board of Supervisors. They banned the city from doing business with companies in 30 states because those states discriminate against LGBT people, restrict abortion rights, or suppress voting rights. This makes buying materials or things like prefabricated toilets more expensive. Recreation Parks says that it's now considering options like installing a prefabricated restroom and that the project could be delivered at a cheaper cost, with leftover funds going toward improvements and maintenance. But even if they somehow bring costs down, keep in mind that this is only just one of at least 3 toilets that cost San Francisco this much. A small single toilet bathroom in McLaren Park recently cost $1.6 million, and a similar one in Alamo Square cost $1.7 million. It just happens that the one in Noe Valley is getting the most attention. Yep, these things are spreading. Nothing epitomizes San Francisco more than the fact that it's turning into an expensive toilet. Overpriced toilets aren't just unique to California, though. New York City has spent millions on them as well. In 2012, New York City spent $2.3 million for just 2 urinals, 4 stalls, and 2 diaper changing stations in Elmhurst Park. Still expensive, but at least New Yorkers get more bang for their buck than San Francisco. In 2017, New York City spent $2 million on a 400 square foot bathroom in Gravesend Park. It took 7.5 years to complete, with just 1 toilet and 1 urinal for the men's room. I used to think all the people going to the bathroom on the streets of San Francisco and New York were disgusting. Turns out they're just fiscally conservative. Total funding for the toilet facility in Ferry Point Park West in New York City was almost $4 million, with the final total cost of $4.7 million. That was after taking 12 years to complete. That's being beaten by an even more expensive bathroom in Staten Island, funded at $6 million, potentially ending up as high as $10 million. Which is preposterous because going to the bathroom in the middle of the street would actually improve the smell of Staten Island. Lincoln Terrace Park also seems to be getting close to Staten Island's price. There's no sign the prices are going down anytime soon. It's not just construction costs. Just like San Francisco, there's over-the-top bureaucracy that's clogging up bathroom approvals. A former Parks Department commissioner says, "Comfort stations were the bane of my existence. They took forever. There's a built-in inefficiency at every level and too many reviews." On the bright side, this means extra job security for everyone in the poop patrol. Seriously, I think Idiocracy was even less dumb than this. That $1.7 million toilet in San Francisco is a perfect example of this red tape. For one little bathroom, city laws require Rec and Park to seek approval from or partner with Public Works, the Planning Department, the Department of Building Inspection, the Arts Commission, the Public Utilities Commission, the Mayor's Office of Disability, and Pacific Gas and Electric Co. Waiting for these bureaucratic reviews can take years, even just for getting approval to design. This prompts contractors to raise their bids for park projects. But given how politicians don't seem to pay attention to the cost, it's not surprising that contractors would up the price. Given this toilet debacle, it's really hard to see how the state government expects San Francisco to build 82,000 housing units by 2030. I'm sure by the time 2030 comes around, politicians will find a way to celebrate how they built a single housing unit for only $10 billion. And besides overpriced public toilets, there's at least one other regrettable thing California is famous for: data breaches. In fact, California had the most data breaches of any state in the last 5 years. Since 2017, there's been more than 300,000 victims of data theft in California. In total, hackers stole more than $3 billion from these folks. And that's why this episode is sponsored by Incogni. Whenever you do anything online, there's a huge number of companies that collect your personal data. Your name, your email, your home address, all sorts of things. And that's exactly why you need to get that data off the internet as much as possible. When I signed up for Incogni in February this year, I discovered there were 76 data brokers that potentially had my private information. Since then, that number has grown to 134. The good news is Incogni has been forcing these companies to delete my data. 8 months after signing up, Incogni had already gotten my details removed from 58 of these data brokers, with 76 more in progress. And I still haven't had to do anything after signing up. So get your data taken offline using Incogni. Click the link below or go to incogni.com/uncovered. The first 100 people to use the code UNCOVERED will get 20% off. Get your personal data off the market with Incogni. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.